What's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Q-Tip, and we are back with another video. We have a big time matchup for you guys. We have number 4 Texas taking on number 3 UCLA in Vegas for the Players Era Tournament, Players Era Championship, and there's a potential matchup. I ain't gonna say potential. I think we know what matchup is gonna happen. Between one of these teams is gonna play South Carolina. Let's just get that out the way. One of these teams is going to play South Carolina on Thursday, and I can't wait. But before we get there, this game has to be played. So we're going to preview this game. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you see all the stuff that we've done so far, all the stuff that we're going to do in the future. But without further ado, let's get straight into it because this is a lot. There's a lot to talk about with this game. There's a lot to be excited about. First thing that I'm excited about is, and I feel like I've been saying this a lot, but I'm actually not going to say all the matchups. I'll get to that later. But I think the contrasting of styles. You know, Texas is a team that is all about defense. Obviously, they care about scoring too, but they're about defense first, defense second, and defense third. Their defense can allow them, like sometimes their defense is their best offense. And that is the complete opposite of UCLA. Not that UCLA can't play great defense, but their offense is their best defense. So this is a great offense versus a great defense, and two teams that still have really good, like Texas still has a pretty good offense, UCLA still has a pretty good defense. So this matchup is going to be really interesting. And I saw, granted this is ESPN's predictor, so I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt, but I think it was like 64 to 36%. Like they thought Texas was gonna win, or like Texas had the best chance of winning. I feel like that's a little crazy. Like, I don't think it should be 60-30, 60-40 either way. Like, I think this game is really evenly matched, honestly. It's going to come down to a few things, but we'll get to those later on into the video. Now we'll get into the matchups because I talked about the styles and I talked about how each team, like what each team wants to do. Well, let's talk about the players that help them do these things, okay? For Texas, their defense, honestly, it starts with Roy Harmon. It starts with the player that's able to put pressure on ball handlers, go and get steals. Madison Booker as well is able to go and get steals. She's averaging 4 steals a game this year. But if Roy Harmon is being a pest to the guards, it changes everything. And then you have Brianna Preston that can come off the bench and do the same thing, with being really pesky, being really fast, and just making themselves really difficult to fend with. And I don't know if UCLA will have issues with it because they have a ton of different guards, and almost all the guards that play are experienced. And they're not a team that just has one ball handler, so that one ball handler is being hounded all the way up the court. Like they do a good job of getting rid of the ball, moving the ball, and things like that. So I'm going to be really interested to see how UCLA, or how Texas tries to guard UCLA, because a lot of teams, when you play Lauren Betts and you play UCLA, you double team, you make sure that it's really, really difficult for her. I don't want to say that they might be able to play her one-on-one, but they may be more well-equipped. Wow, that's crazy. More well-equipped to play them one-on-one than most other teams. I think South Carolina is one of the teams that could potentially play them one-on-one. But honestly, there's not a lot of teams out there that can say, like, okay, we have the size to play them one-on-one, or even if we send, like, late help, the size could really, really bother her. And this is a game that I'm also looking at, Jordan Lee and Aaliyah Crump. They've played really well offensively this season. And I think in games like this is where I've been looking for Roy Harmon to step up, but maybe these two players, if they're able, like if Aaliyah Crump is able to step up in these big games, you don't have to worry about Roy Harmon scoring necessarily. You could just worry about her defense and her facilitating. And I think that could open up the floor even more. I think that could make it really easy, or much easier. I do think Roy Harmon still needs to be able to shoot the ball for this team to be at their best, because they're still going to be able to play off of her. So she has to be able to play well enough offensively to where they can't play off her, but she doesn't have to play well enough to where she's averaging 16, 18 points a game because Aaliyah Crump is a great scorer. Jordan Lee has shown the ability to score in all different levels on the court. Obviously, we all know Madison Booker is one of the best scorers in the country, and she loves to wake up for big games. Obviously, I talked about her in the Texas preview about how she struggled against South Carolina, and I want to see her get better. And maybe we see them play South Carolina before conference play, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet. But I think Brea Cunningham, Kyla Oldacre, they have their hands full down in the post with Lauren Betts, and I think as long as they don't get in foul trouble, they have a chance of slowing her down a bit. I don't think they'll be able to fully contain her just because she's that talented, but I do think they have a good chance, and I think they have enough guard speed around her or around those players to still be able to bother them. But the thing with UCLA is they have shooters everywhere, so you can't really leave anybody. So that's the thing is when you leave them, you're gambling, and you have to gamble well. Oklahoma gambled well a few times, but then a few of those times they got them into trouble. They kicked it out. Gianna Neekins hit a shot, or she made a play off the dribble, off the contest. So it's you have to be smart about when you double, and if you're gonna double, you have to double from the right person that makes that pass more difficult for Lauren Betts. Lauren Betts is typically pretty good at being patient and finding the open player. She struggled a little bit this year at times. Again, it's only 6 games in, so I'm not super worried about it. And I know there's a lot of discourse on Twitter about her play this year and things like that, but I'm not really worried about it. I think she's still one of the best players in the country. But I will say for UCLA, they're gonna like I said earlier, their offense is gonna be their best defense, most likely. Because it's not like Texas really plays through the post. A lot of their stuff is perimeter based. So those perimeter guards like Kiki Rice, Gianna Neekins, Gabby Jaquez, which Gabby Jaquez is a really good defender, but Charlize Ledger-Walker, those players are gonna have to guard. They're gonna have to guard at a high level. They're gonna have to have a lot of energy, a lot of effort. You just have to make sure that you are playing with the amount of intensity that you need on a play-in, play-out basis, because Texas is relentless. Even if they're down 10, they're playing like they're up 10, or they're playing like they're down 20. This is a very difficult team to beat. Granted, neither one of these teams have the home court. Technically, UCLA is closer. I'm going to say technically they are closer. Well, actually, it's not that far apart because Texas is not too far, but obviously California and Nevada is right here. So it's definitely more of a home game for UCLA, but it's still a pretty close travel for Texas. I want to see, now we can get into matchups. I want to see certain matchups. I want to see who's guarding Madison Booker, who's guarding Aaliyah Crump, who's guarding Jordan Lee. How do they guard Rory Harmon? Are they playing off of her? Are they allowing her to shoot the ball? How do they find ways to get Lauren Betts easier looks, better looks? She's only averaging 15 points this season. She's not leading the team in rebounds, but she is leading the team in blocks. So I think they still have time. They have a ton of time. But finding a way to make it easy for everybody on the court is the biggest thing for them, in my opinion, because there's just way too much talent for the and I'm not saying they've been playing bad, they're 5-0, but there's too much talent for it to look somewhat difficult at times. You know what I mean? And I will say these are the games. This game is one of the types of games that they went and got Gianna Neekins for. And not just this game, but if they win this game, the South Carolina game after that, and I don't mean any disrespect to Duke. South Carolina plays Duke. If they beat Duke, they play whoever wins this game. I'm just going to assume that South Carolina's going to win that game. That's not me disrespecting Duke. That's just how good South Carolina is. I'm just being honest. But like I was saying, Gianna Neekins coming to UCLA, she came for these kinds of games. They wanted her because of these kinds of games. So is South Carolina. So these are the moments, these are the games that I'm looking at, and I'm like, okay, if Gianna Neekins steps up big here, the confidence for not only her, but for the coaching staff and the team about having her on the team is huge. Can't be replicated. And I think having someone that you know you can go to when things don't look great. Because in the past, and this is not a shot at Kiki Rice, because I think Kiki Rice is still a really good scorer and a really good player. But in the past, it was like, okay, we don't know what we have going on the perimeter right now. Kiki Rice has to create something. Now, having that as like a secondary option, I think is really good. Having Kiki Rice as like, okay, Gianna Neekins, like, she either got X'd out on this play or we ran this play for her and it didn't work, whatever. Now we need Kiki Rice to make a play, or we need Gabby Hawkins to make a play. Like, having those as secondary options is so much better than them being the primary focus of your perimeter scoring, at least. And I love both of those players. Like, Gabby Hawkins is one of my favorite players, so I'm not saying like they aren't capable of doing it. I just think having someone that is such as efficient and as natural of a scorer as Gianna Neekins there is really, really important. When I look at this matchup, it's hard to pick. I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I first seen the game, I was like, okay, I think UCLA will win this because I think their offense will be a little too potent. But on the other hand, Texas's defense has been able to slow down a lot of teams over the last few years. So I think it depends on the start. I think if UCLA starts really well, they have a chance to win this game by 5 to 10 points. I think if this is a game where they struggle to score and it's like a low scoring game, the advantage goes to Texas. So the target score for UCLA is like 80 points. You want to get to like 75, 80 and just hope that your offense is just way better than theirs. That's really what it is. And that's not, and I'm really not trying to say that like UCLA's defense is bad, but I think their offense is that good, and I think Texas's defense is that good. So I just think that's where the matchup comes down to. And then for Texas, you want to keep the game close. You want to give your best player a chance at the end of the game. Last 2 minutes, last 3 minutes. That's when you get the ball to Madison Booker. I don't say everybody get out the way, but you try to run plays for her, get her easier looks, get her good shots, get her in her spots, and give yourself a chance to win. That's really all you can ask for, is play great defense, play hard, get the extra possessions, get offensive rebounds, loose balls. Don't get into foul trouble. You really can't afford foul trouble against Lauren Betts. Like, if they get into foul trouble, it's kind of over. That's kind of what happened in Oklahoma. Like, Reagan Beers got into foul trouble, and there really wasn't anyone else that they could put in to really combat what she could do. And it wasn't like she had like this phenomenal game in terms of stats, but I don't think people take into account enough how much gravity that Lauren Betts has on the court. Like, as soon as she gets down the court and she starts to post up, the perimeter players are looking out of the corner of their eye and making sure that she's not like sealed all the way down in the paint, to where once she catches it, all she got to do is lay it up. Because once that pass goes, they're told to go down and dig, or at least, put high hands up, make her pass the ball back out. So if she's able to do that at a high level, do it efficiently, and then potentially get some players in foul trouble, like, it's going to be really difficult for teams to beat them. Or it's going to be really difficult for Texas to beat them, let alone other teams. I'm also looking at Charlize Ledger-Walker in this game. I think she's another player that they brought in last year, obviously, but she was injured the year before that, so they never really got to use her, or they didn't have her at all last year. So I'm also looking at her in games like this. Like, there's a reason you also came to UCLA, and these are the kinds of games that get you looked at by pro scouts, not just WNBA scouts, but pro scouts. Like, these are the kinds of games that if you step up, you continue to put your name on the map, because it's not like people don't know who Charlize Ledger-Walker is, but I will say there's a big difference in the conversation around her name from 2 years ago to today. And I think if she's able to go out and play at a high level like she's capable of doing, I think she can continue. And like I said, with Gianna, you can put confidence in yourself, confidence from your coaches and for your coaches and your teammates. And like, okay, again, Lauren Betts is able to do this. She can give us 19 to 20 points on any given night, maybe 30 on any given night. Gianna Neekins can give us 19 to 20 on any given night. Gabby Hawkes can give us 15 to 19 on any given night. Kiki Rice can give us 15 to 19 on any night. And then you still have Charlize Ledger-Walker there as well. So that's why I don't like. But I also like Texas. Like, Texas has a really good team. I think Aaliyah Crump and Jordan Lee being as good as they are offensively is huge for them. Justice Carlton as well. Don't let me forget about Justice Carlton. She's a really good player, and she does a lot. And I think she's going to play a big part in this game as well. But I don't know. It's just hard to see UCLA losing. So if I had to pick, I would pick UCLA. I think I've only been wrong on one prediction so far, and it was the USC Notre Dame game. And I should have made a video about that game because that game was so frustrating. And I'm not a USC fan at all. So, yeah, I've got UCLA. I just think their offense will be too good for this game. And we'll get a rematch between UCLA and South Carolina. But, yeah, make sure you guys tap in with the rest of everything that we got. Thank you guys for watching.